Business leaders and politicians alike line up to meet with him as he serves as an important bridge between Korea and the U.S. in trade and investment. Jaimeskim, chairman and CEO of the American Chamber of Commerce in Korea, probably better known as AMCHAM Korea, is our guest on Talk Room today. Hello, and thank you for joining us on Talk Room.
Sing, it's so good to see you. Thank you for inviting me.
It's our pleasure. And I know you have a really, really busy schedule, so thank you for carving time out of that to speak with us.
Of course.
Let's start with something most recent. A big thing, of course, was APEC 2025 Korea, and I understand that you played a big role in helping to put it all together. Can you describe your role?
I don't know how big my role is, but obviously I served on the steering committee for the CEO Summit. So for me, it was a real honor and a pleasure to work with Chairman Choi Tae-won and the Vice Chairman Park Il-jun for setting up this amazing APEC. As we know, there were a lot of challenges associated with it from the get-go. People talked about how it was far.
The location.
Gyeongju is a little bit difficult to get to, lack of hotels. But these people pulled it off amazingly.
You played a role in bringing a lot of the business leaders and the personnel from the U.S. to
Absolutely.
participate in the APEC CEO Summit. And I understand that the APEC CEO Summit set many records in terms of the number of participants, the number of business leaders, 1,700, heads of state, et cetera, et cetera. Many, many records were set. Do you think the results were also record-breaking? Are you happy with the results?
Well, whenever you can get President Donald Trump to come to this event, not just in Seoul, but in Gyeongju, that's pretty outstanding. As you know, he had a very big schedule. You had amazing speakers such as, Jensen Huang from NVIDIA. A lot of people look at him as one of the most important figures in this world. So Jensen Huang was there. I had a chance to meet with him. So it was very special to see him in action. And all the different dignitaries that were there from the chairman of Citibank was there as well, Johnson & Johnson CEO, and a lot of other dignitaries. So it was very special to be part of that event.
Did you get a chance to have some chimek with Jensen or some other U.S. leaders?
Unfortunately, I did not have any chimek because I was working too hard. But I'm sure Chairman E.S. Chung from Hyundai, yes, and Lee Jae-young from Samsung, they enjoyed that time.
That was a great little media moment, I think.
Absolutely.
You've often spoken in interviews about your goal as chairman and CEO of AMCHAM Korea. You want to help make Korea into a regional sort of global or regional hub.
Yes.
Do you think having APEC here, did you see more of that possibility or potential of Korea to fulfill that role?
I think because of the prominence and the significance of APEC itself, the whole world can see Korea in action. But I'd like to talk about some of the numbers, and I think I've said this on many occasions. If you take a look at Singapore, they have 5,000 multinational companies headquartered in that small country. Take a look at Hong Kong. You still have 1,400 multinational companies using Hong Kong as its regional base. Shanghai has 900. But look at Korea. It still has less than 100 today.
Less than 100?
Yes, it is. So when you look at APEC, Gyeongju, and what Koreans were able to pull off, it shows you that Korea is a great base for setting up these operations. So I do want to see Korea take a real strong leap forward. I'm not talking incremental growth from 100 to 120.
Right.
But they should go from 100 to 1,000 at the very minimum, and then take it from there.
Well, hopefully APEC sort of highlight the possibility and the attractiveness of Korea as another regional business hub. What do you think needs to be done more? You've talked about that before.
Yeah.
Is it still the same issues?
Well, I like to say it's still the same issue, but we have a new administration. But in very simple terms, there's just a few major obstacles. One is still labor inflexibility, which is cited in our report. Right. Taxation is the other. And third, what we call CEO risk. We still have many CEOs who are personally accountable and liable for anything that can happen under their watch. So for some of the foreign CEOs who operate their businesses here, they do look at it as a risk, unlike other countries.
And on those three issues, you're continuing to have talks with the new administration. Are you
Absolutely.
making any progress, do you think?
You know, I'll tell you one great thing about the Lee Jae-myung administration. They have been very open with us. We're having many, many dialogues with them. So the very fact they give us this opportunity to have the dialogue, I think is very positive. You know, we talked about labor. I think I must have met with the Minister of Labor at least on 3 occasions, including at Gyeongju. And I think that he is a fantastic gentleman. And we plan on working very closely with him to address some challenges that we have already discussed with him.
Okay. Let's bring the conversation back to trade and investment, bilateral. Korean companies, Korean industries, especially in semiconductors, batteries, AI, which was also a major theme of the APEC meeting, they are receiving a lot of global attention. In your opinion, are those the 3 industries that could drive Korea forward or kind of propel it forward, or maybe other industries that you think you see great potential for growth?
Well, let's kind of look at President Lee Jae-myung's priorities. And he calls it A, B, C, D, E. Right? So A is AI, B is bio, C is culture and content, D is defense and aerospace, and E is energy. So I actually think all 5 of them could be very helpful to do more business between U.S. and Korea. But obviously AI was the big topic during APEC.
Right.
Starting off with the technology summit that Chairman Choi Tae-won and SK Telecom ran. At that event, AWS announced a $5 billion additional data center investment in South Korea, which I think is very, very positive.
So those 5 areas will be something that this current administration will be focused on, and you see also great potential.
Yes.
In terms of Korea and U.S., what will be sort of the key theme then to further their partnership? You touched upon labor issues and some other issues before, but what do you think will be the key themes to make the partnership even stronger going forward?
Well, if you take a look at where we are today, number one, Korea is already the largest foreign direct investor in the United States. We all know
Korea is the largest.
Yes. For the past several years, over $140 billion have gone into the United States. You know, companies like Samsung, with their semiconductor investment in Texas, is a big one. Look at what Hyundai and Kia has done in the states of Georgia and Alabama. Look at what SK has done in Indiana. They're all huge investments, which shows you the foundation of the U.S.-Korea partnership. But let's go back to what President Trump wants. He also wants to see more U.S. companies succeed in South Korea. And I think that's where we at AMCHAM comes into play. We published a report about what the U.S. government views as non-tariff barriers, NTBs. And those are kind of what we want to work on so we can help bring more U.S. products into South Korea.
What are some of those non-tariff barriers?
Well,
simply.
Just a lot of different things. It could be emission requirements for autos. It could be some unique Korea requirements that may not be relevant here in, from a global sense.
Okay.
So those are some of the things that take place. But what we have done is we have done a few MOUs that have been very, very successful. MOUs with large Korean companies that want to bring more U.S. products into South Korea. A good example is we did an MOU between the Korea Chamber of Commerce, GM Korea, and AMCHAM, where GM could bring in a lot more cars through the KCCL organization, using AMCHAM as kind of the bridge. So through that, we're already seeing some good traction.
Now, when it comes to AMCHAM Korea and your activities here, you are the largest foreign chamber of commerce here, with 800 member companies and affiliates from both the U.S. and Korea.
That's correct.
And I understand that the number has increased significantly during your leadership as well. What are the main benefits for companies, for both? I mean, I know that you try to encourage companies from both countries to help them make inroads into the other. But what are the main benefits? Because I'm curious, many companies now, they may feel, I don't need to go through maybe AMCHAM. I can just go directly to the U.S. consumers through an online platform.
Of course.
Again, I'm not a business person, but I think that might be some of the thinking. So what exactly does AMCHAM Korea do for those companies, for both sides?
Well, if we take a look at our mission, number one is to really help U.S. companies succeed in Korea. The second is to help Korean companies invest in America and also succeed in Korea, in the United States. So what is it that we do? Number one, we really help these member companies market what they do into our large platform. Second is advocacy. You know, whether it's the U.S. or in Korea, these companies are going to run into some challenges with the government regulators, and that's where we play a big hand. And third is we have a lot of information which could be very valuable in how they handle themselves. And lastly, we do something called surgical networking, which allows executives to meet other executives or government officials in a very, very friendly and a strategically tactical manner.
That's why it's called surgical?
Yes, it is. And through that, we get a lot of things done. And in the U.S. alone, I'll give you a good example. A company called SPC, they have 250 stores in the United States today. So they want to have 1,000 by the end of 2030. So we recently had an MOU with the mayor of New York City, AMCHAM, and SPC, which really helps them drive their brand. It helps them do a lot easier business in New York City, for example. And that's how we help a company like SPC, who's been a longstanding member of AMCHAM.
So you bring those two together. You almost
Yes.
pair them and partner
Yes.
them up,
Yes.
considering both of their needs
Yes.
as well. I think we mentioned before that Korea needs to become a better place to do business. Are we seeing any progress, or do you see other issues that might potentially become an issue?
You know, we are keeping a very tight eye on that, but obviously the biggest reason why we are seeing challenges with having more U.S. companies use Korea as a hub is labor.
Okay.
And we continue to have labor-related issues, which I'm personally dealing with the Korean government. And we hope that, you know, over time, they will gradually ease into it and provide some flexibility that U.S. companies and any foreign companies need.
What about any positive points? Has Korea improved on any points? You've mentioned that the current administration is open to dialogue, but in other areas, has there been some progress or that you're optimistic about?
You know, I remain very, very optimistic, not just about U.S. companies doing business in Korea, but also the Korean companies doing business in the U.S. and globally. Look at what K-pop has done,
Right.
what K-cuisine has done. Those are really, really huge industries that are driving the South Korean businesses to grow in the United States. Look at what K-beauty has done in the U.S. as well.
So the sprinkling of soft power, Korean
Yes.
soft power, is helping to make the more attractive, I guess, of all sort of Korean businesses, or it's also highlighting their presence and it's just becoming more American consumers are becoming aware of Korean products and
I think
Korean
it just
culture.
shows you that you know, Korea is no longer a cheap product that people thought about, you know, decades ago. Now people want to buy made in Korea, unlike in the past.
Yes. And this didn't take place over like decades.
Yeah.
This is quite relatively new, right?
Very relatively new.
I mean, that's one of the big points about Korea. It's always dynamic and it's always changing very rapidly. And you must have seen those changes directly in your role as AMCHAM chairman, but all the years that you were here before as the CEO of several global companies. So let's talk a little bit about your personal sort of background. How many years, for starters, have you been chairman and CEO of AMCHAM Korea?
So I've been the chairman and CEO for the past 8 years.
8 years.
And before that, I was the chairman when I was the CEO of Microsoft
Right.
and also GM. So combined around 12 years.
And I understand that you are the first person to hold that title of simultaneously holding the chairman and CEO, because I wasn't aware of this. But the chairman role was usually more of a sort of a voluntary role.
That's correct.
But CEO kind of day-to-day operations, you're responsible for all of that. Now you're doing both.
Yes.
A lot of responsibility, a lot more work as well. What's that like? And how are you dealing with both roles?
You know, this is one of the most exciting jobs I've had. And as you know, I had an interesting career background after running Yahoo, Microsoft, and GM. But this has been a fascinating role because I'm able to leverage and optimize my background, my network, and my experiences to help businesses succeed, whether it's in the US or in Korea.
Right.
And because I've had the CEO experience, I know what the CEOs need and what they require. So it makes it a lot easier of a conversation when I speak to them about getting involved with AMCHAM.
How long have you been in Korea now, in all those roles then? And it's your professional life that you've mainly had here in Korea, right? How long?
I've been in Korea now 21 years.
21 years.
So it's a long time.
It's a long time. And you have achieved so much. Like you said, you were the CEO of 3 sort of US-based but global corporations, and now leading AMCHAM Korea for the past 12 years, basically.
Yes.
If you had to single out some accomplishments that you've been most proud of, what would they be?
You know, there's a few, but I like to really transform businesses. When I first came to Korea to run the Yahoo business, I was here to really do a turnaround. And I think that every business I kind of take over, we go through a huge transformation, and usually they have worked out. But where I am most proud of is what we have done at AMCHAM today. As I said, we have grown tremendously. We have a couple of tiers of membership. One is called founding partner, and the other is called corporate partners. And they are what we call our most engaged members. So 8 years ago, when we started, we had 5 founding partner members. Now we're up to 82.
Wow.
And on the corporate partner side, we had 15 8 years ago, and now we're up to 150. So we have grown pretty extensively.
Do you actively recruit these members to become founding member, or how do you go about increasing these numbers? I mean, even the number of members, again, 800, and that grew significantly under your leadership. Do you actively go out and recruit them?
I would say we do take a very proactive approach with some key member companies that we want to attract into our ecosystem.
Right.
And some, they come our way because they see what we do. But when you take a look at the Korean companies who are members of AMCHAM, Korean Airlines, Hyundai, SK, LG, Lotte, Shinsegae, they're all very big companies that I'm very proud to have them as a member company.
What's the ratio, Korean versus U.S. companies?
I would say U.S. companies are still around 60%. Korean
60%.
companies are maybe 25, 30%. And we have a lot of European companies joining AMCHAM as well.
Oh,
and I think because they
join.
see our size and our ecosystem. And I think they need us because their challenges are very similar to U.S. companies.
The European Chamber of Commerce in Korea, I'm not sure how they feel about that.
No, but we have a happy and a friendly relationship. And I think as long as they know that when we can help member companies that have aligned issues, it's a win-win for everyone.
You have said that transforming the companies or organizations that you've been in charge of has been sort of your most proud accomplishments. It seems like you lead, and that those transformations are usually very tough and challenging. It's not easy for the leadership or for the organization itself. But how would you describe your leadership? What is the sort of the value that drives you when you take on these challenges and also see them through to fruition and success?
You know, for over a decade, I've had a management system called ACT2Win.
Act to win. Okay.
A stands for accountability. C stands for communications. And T is for teamwork. And that's what I really, believe in. And, as you know, I ran a large company called GM, 17,000 people in Korea, another 17,000 in Uzbekistan. So the only way anyone can lead big organizations like that is you need to have good leaders working underneath your team who are accountable for the results. And that's what I strive to do. And also communications is important and teamwork is important. Because if you have, an organization that's very siloed and not working as a team, eventually the company will have a problem. And most importantly, I'm very competitive and I like to win. So we want to have the right set of leaders and employees who share that kind of a vision.
When it comes to communication and teamwork, also very important, are you able to sort of bridge the communication or maybe even cultural gap? You are of Korean American. Obviously, you've been here for a long time, so I imagine your Korean is very good as well. Is it beneficial to have that sort of bicultural background? Are you able to converse in Korean or English whenever you need to dip into either cultural background? Is that
I think it's
helping?
very beneficial.
Yeah.
When I do big events, most of it is done officially in English. But I have a lot of meetings, whether they're private or individually with government officials or other chairman CEOs. And because I don't need a translator, I think I'm able to conduct business the right way with these folks.
Right.
Because some of these government officials, they may not speak English. But if
They
I
may
had
not want to speak in English either.
but
right?
if I had a translator with me, then you bring a third party into the mix, and maybe you're not able to have the kind of close conversation that I think is required.
That's right. There must be times when the two sides, Korean side and the US side, are not aligned, maybe even in conflict.
Yeah.
Obviously, your title, your main responsibility is to serve the US, I guess, but what kind of guides you? What allows you to make the right decision in your mind? What's the guiding sort of principle in times of those conflicts?
I think it's to really understand what each side wants.
Okay.
I take a look at the negotiation that is underway between U.S. and Korea on the trade dynamics. It's gone on for a while now, all right? But I think that we finally have that right happy medium. I think President Lee Jae-myung did a great job of talking about what he calls economic viability or commercial viability for a deal. And I think that resonated very effectively with the U.S. And as a result, I think U.S. was able to kind of loosen some of its strict requirements on the original numbers. So although it's not signed and sealed yet, but I do believe both sides are a lot closer. And I'm hoping for a signed agreement, very, very soon.
In just our short conversation together and looking at your career path, it seems that you're very driven, again, very ambitious. You like to win. This is definitely the professional side of Jaimskim. In your personal life, though, I wonder if you're always this composed and on message and on focus. How would your friends and family describe you, I wonder?
No, I think they look at me as a pretty practical person. Obviously, I'm very committed to my family, my personal life, and I enjoy, sports a lot. So I play tennis religiously, twice a week, and it keeps me in better health and enjoying what I do.
What do you do downtime? You like to work out, and it keeps you fit, mentally, I'm sure, and physically as well.
Yeah.
Do you ever just kind of relax and, you get some off time, whether it's by yourself? How do you completely unwind, or do you ever?
I don't really know if I unwind, but when I do go to sleep, I do watch YouTube a lot, different podcasts and so on.
What's a favorite podcast? I'm curious to hear that.
Well, I listen to all kinds of podcasts. I do watch a lot of news, right before I go to sleep.
Not relaxing.
Which is not relaxing. And I watched a lot of tennis on TV.
As we wrap up our conversation, my last question to you is, what's next for you and AMCHAM Korea?
I'm very happy with AMCHAM, very passionate about it. We still have a lot of room for growth. So expect me in my role for many more years to come.
And many more companies to join AMCHAM
Yes.
Korea as well.
Yes.
And I'm sure with your drive and ambition and will to win, or act to win, I'm sure you'll achieve that as well. Thank you so much for joining us on Talk Room.
Yes, and thank you. It was an honor and a pleasure being with you today.
All mine. And that brings us to the end of our conversation with Jaimskim, Chairman and CEO of AMCHAM Korea, helping to build economic ties and strengthen trust between Korea and the U.S.